The bell echoed through the dusty corridors of Ajiganou High School, signaling the end of another dreary day. Kehinde sat slumped at the edge of his desk, staring blankly at the blackboard. His teacher's words had barely registered, lost in the endless haze of frustration and self-doubt that clouded his mind. "Kehinde, you'll never amount to anything if you don't take your studies seriously." His math teacher backed earlier that day, the ridicule slicing through him like a knife. The classroom erupted into laughter, their cruel sneakers pushing him deeper into the abyss of his insecurities. At home, it wasn't much better. His parents, exhausted from years of struggle, had all but given up on him. "Why can't you be like your brother?" His mother often lamented, comparing him to his twin, Tay, a top student and the family's pride. Everywhere Kehinde turned, he felt like a failure. The weight of their disappointment crushed him until he could no longer bear it. He withdrew, retreating into a shell of anger and bitterness. His frustration spilled out in violent outbursts, making him the boy everyone feared and avoided. The annual inter-house sports competition was approaching, and the school buzzed with excitement. Kehinde cared little for such events. To him, it was just another opportunity for others to shine while he faded into the background. His house, Red House, was short one player for the football team. Mr. Abidin, their housemaster, had exhausted all his options. "We need one more player, or we'll forfeit the match," he told the team during practice. "What about Kehinde?" Someone muttered half-jokingly, "Kehinde." Mr. Abidin echoed, frowning. "He's never even shown interest in football." But with no other choice, the housemaster approached him. "Kehinde, we need a player for tomorrow's match. You're our last hope." Reluctantly, Kehinde agreed. He wasn't expecting much from himself, and neither was anyone else. The day of the competition dawned bright and sunny. The school's field was alive with cheers and the vibrant colors of house banners. Kehinde stood awkwardly in the corner, feeling out of place in the team jersey that seemed too bright for someone like him. As the match began, Red House struggled. Their opponents, Yellow House, were dominating, and the crowd's cheers seemed to drown Red's fading hope. Then, something extraordinary happened. Kehinde, who had been watching the ball with an almost unnatural focus, suddenly sprang into action. He intercepted a pass with lightning speed, weaving through defenders with agility that left the crowd stunned. His feet danced over the ball with an ease and precision that belied his inexperience. "Pass it, Kehinde," someone yelled, but he didn't need instructions. With a final burst of speed, he struck the ball cleanly into the net. The crowd erupted in a deafening roar. By the end of the match, Red House had won, thanks to Kehinde's unmatched performance. The once ignored boy had carried his team to victory. The field was filled with excitement as students and teachers alike surrounded Kehinde, chanting his name. "Who knew you had it in you?" Mr. Abidin said, clapping him on the back. For the first time in years, Kehinde felt something he couldn't quite put into words. Pride, joy, hope. Whatever it was, it lit a fire in him. Word of his talent spread quickly. He was invited to join the school's football team and soon became their star player. Game after game, he dazzled the crowd, leading the school to victories they had only dreamed of. As he grew in confidence, Kehinde transformed. His once hostile demeanor softened, replaced by a quiet determination. Teachers who had written him off began to see him in a new light. Even his parents, once skeptical, now beamed with pride. Kehinde's talent eventually caught the attention of scouts at a nationwide football tournament. Among them was a representative from an internationally renowned football club. After the match, the scout approached him. "You have an extraordinary gift," he said. "How would you like to train with our academy abroad?" Kehinde's heart raced. The boy who had once been mocked and ridiculed was now being offered a chance to play on the world stage. With tears in his eyes and approval from his parents, he accepted. Life abroad was challenging, but Kehinde thrived. He trained relentlessly, honing his skills and pushing himself beyond his limits. Within a few years, he had risen to fame, playing for one of the biggest football clubs in the world. But even as he basked in the glory of his success, Kehinde never forgot his roots. He often thought of his old school, the place where his journey had begun. 10 years later, Kehinde returned to Nigeria, not as the shy, angry boy he had once been, but as a celebrated footballer and philanthropist. His first stop was Ajigona High School. The sight of the dilapidated classrooms and rundown sports facilities tugged at his heart. "This is where my story started," he said to himself. "I owe it everything." Kehinde poured his resources into rebuilding the school, constructing new classrooms, a modern sports complex, and even a scholarship fund for underprivileged students. At the unveiling ceremony, he stood before a crowd of students, teachers, and community members, sharing his story. "There was a time when I thought I had no future," he began. "But someone saw a spark in me, and that changed everything. Every one of you has a seed of greatness within you. Never let anyone tell you otherwise." Kehinde's story inspired countless others. Students who had been labeled hopeless found new motivation, and teachers began to look beyond academics to discover their students' hidden talents. Through his efforts, Kehinde not only transformed his school but also changed the lives of many. His journey was a testament to the power of faith, perseverance, and the belief that greatness lies within everyone, waiting to be discovered. As he looked out at the sea of faces, Kehinde smiled, knowing that his story had come full circle. The boy who was once invisible had become a beacon of hope, proving that even the most unlikely stars can shine the brightest. And teachers began to look beyond academics to discover their students' hidden talents. Through his efforts, Kehinde not only transformed his school but also